Hey everyone! Today, let's talk about a flavor you probably taste almost every single day, peppermint. And trust me, its story is way more accidental and way more incredible than you'd ever guess.
So, riddle me this. What in the world do Egyptian currency, an ancient Greek myth, and your toothpaste all have in common? Yeah, you probably guessed it by now, it's mint. But the real story here, that how they're all connected through peppermint, is the truly fascinating part.
All right, so here's the first mind blower for you. Peppermint? It's not some ancient plant that's been growing in the wild for thousands of years. Nope, it's actually a pretty modern, accident. It's a happy little accident of nature that we only stumbled upon a few hundred years ago.
Its official scientific name is Mentha X piperita. And that little X in the middle, that's not a typo, it's actually super important. It tells us that this plant is a hybrid. And because it's a hybrid, it's sterile, which means it can't make seeds. So how does it get around? It sends out these little underground runners to spread out. Kind of clever, right? So if it's a hybrid, you gotta ask, who are its parents? Well, say hello to watermint and spearmint. Peppermint is basically their natural love child. You can just picture it, right? Watermint is hanging out in wet, watery areas, spearmint is in a common garden nearby, and bam, somewhere in the middle, they met and created this brand new plant. Okay, so peppermint itself might be the new kid on the block. But its family, the mint family, oh, they go way, way back. We're talking thousands of years. So let's rewind and dig into those ancient roots. And I mean deep. Just look at this. We've got records from 1550 BC in Egypt, the Ebers Papyrus, talking about using mint to calm upset stomachs. A few centuries later, archaeologists are literally finding dried mint leaves buried in the pyramids. Fast forward to the Roman Empire, and you've got the famous philosopher Pliny the Elder writing about how it soothes the stomach and even boosts your appetite. This stuff wasn't just for flavoring food, it was serious medicine. You know, mint was so important, so valuable, it even gets a shout out in the Bible. This quote from the Gospel of Luke shows that people were using mint for tithing. Tithing? That means they were using it like currency to pay their taxes. Can you even imagine that? Paying your taxes with a big bundle of mint leaves? And where did the name Minfa even come from? For that, we gotta go to Greek mythology. And the story is pretty dramatic. There was this nymph, right? Her name was Minthe, and she was having an affair with Hades, the god of the underworld. Well, his wife Persephone found out, and she was not happy. In a fit of jealousy, she turned poor Mint into a mint plant, destined to be walked all over for eternity. A bit harsh, maybe, but hey, it's a memorable way to name a plant.
I mean, the versatility is just wild. We've got ancient Egyptians using it for money. The Greeks were convinced it could cure hiccups. Monks in the Middle Ages, they were using it as an early form of toothpaste. And yeah, we're definitely going to circle back to that one. They even used its strong smell to keep mice and rots away from their cheese. It was like the Swiss Army knife of plants. All right, so we've established the mint family is ancient. But what about our star, peppermint? Well, its story kicks off way more recently. We're jumping forward to 17th century England, which is where it got its official discovery moment. And once it was found, things moved fast. Check this out. In 1696, a botanist named John Ray is the first to properly identify it. Just a couple of decades later, in 1721, it's already in the London Pharmacopoeia, which was like the official rulebook for medicines. When, boom, people start farming it commercially. And by 1753, the legend himself, Carl Linnaeus, the guy who came up with our whole system for naming species, gives it the official name we still use today. So, from this one little accidental discovery in an English field, peppermint's popularity just exploded. So, how did it go from a local oddity to a massive global commodity? Let's get into it. Get this. Today, the world cranks out about 4,000 metric tons of peppermint oil every single year. That is a staggering amount, and it just goes to show you how completely essential this flavor has become on a global scale. And you'll never guess where most of it comes from. You might think England, right? Since that's where it was discovered. Wrong. Today, Morocco is the undisputed king of peppermint. They produce a mind-boggling 78% of the entire world's supply. Argentina is way behind in second place. Talk about a plant that's traveled far from home. But this is where things get kind of weird. There's this paradox when it comes to quality. You'd assume that the more menthol, that's the stuff that gives you that cool tingly kick,
the better the oil, right? Well, Japanese oil has the most at about 85%, but connoisseurs will tell you that the best quality, the most refined flavor, actually comes from English oil, which has less menthol. And then you have American oil, which is what dominates the market, and it has the least menthol of the three. It's this really fascinating tug-of-war between chemistry, flavor, and just plain economics.
So how did we get here? How did this one plant oil completely take over our candy aisles and our bathroom cabinets? How did it become the flavor of both treats and cleanliness? Well, it happened really, really fast. The ball gets rolling in 1780 with Altoids, which, by the way, were first created to help with stomach aches. Then, in 1893, Wrigley's jumps in with mint gum. Not long after, in 1912, Lifesavers gives us the legendary Peppermint. And by the 1950s, that classic red and white striped candy cane goes from being just a Christmas tree decoration to a massive holiday staple. Peppermint has completely conquered the world of candy. But why? Why peppermint? It all comes back to that one magic compound, menthol. That cooling sensation it gives you, that was something totally new and exciting. It felt clean, it felt fresh, it felt invigorating. And that feeling was the perfect marketing hook for everything from sweets to, of course, toothpaste.
And using mint to clean your teeth is not a new idea at all. Remember those monks from the Middle Ages? The practice is even older than that. We've actually found a recipe for a Roman toothpaste from the 4th century, and a key ingredient was crushed mint. So when Colgate started selling their minty paste in a jar back in 1873, they weren't inventing something new. They were just putting a modern spin on a tradition that was already ancient.
So, there you have it. The whole incredible story. From a total accident in an English garden, to a form of currency, to the namesake of a tragic Greek nymph, and finally, a global flavor powerhouse. The journey of peppermint is this amazing mix of pure chance, human taste, and centuries of tradition, all rolled into one.
Think about it. This one accidental plant, just a simple cross between two other common plants, became a worldwide sensation. It really makes you wonder, doesn't it? What other amazing things might be hiding out there in plain sight? Maybe even in our own gardens, just waiting for someone to notice.